Hey everyone, welcome back to Watch and Carry. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a new lock that I've been using for my Onewheel. Up until now, I've been using this cable lock. This is the brand, and essentially what happens here is you have this cable that could be pulled out, kind of complete the circuit, so to speak, and then you wrap this around the inside rail of your Onewheel and maybe a table or chair leg, and then you juggle the combination, and that's pretty much your lock. And this has done a good job. Obviously, I've never seen anyone try to steal my board, so I'm not sure how durable it is. But recently, what I've been having is the gearing mechanism to change these numbers has been a little bit harder to turn. And I think that just comes from years and years of this being used for a snowboard where moisture has kind of gotten in there, and maybe it's kind of getting towards its last legs. So I went ahead and went to Amazon, purchased a new lock, and I've been using this for about 3 days now. So the brand here is called Wotow. And it's technically called a bike lock, but you can use it for your Onewheel. This is kind of what the packaging looks like. Okay. And let's take a look inside the box. So you'll get a few things in here. We'll jump into that bike lock in a second. You'll get the mounting bracket, 3 sets of keys, screw, and then an Allen key. Of course, you'll grab the, you'll have the lock itself, and then a set of instructions to go with that too. Okay, so focusing on these other parts first. This is the mounting for the bike lock. So if you were using this for a bike, for example, you would go ahead and take this end, kind of wrap this around, get it tight enough around that seat post or wherever you decide to mount this thing. And then you'll take this machine screw, and it has 2 ends here. It has one end that has a depression for an Allen key, where this would go into here, and then the opposite end, which does not. So the Allen key will be facing outside. And then just hand tighten that. And then once you do that, you'll kind of turn this in the rest of the way until this is going to be flush with the mounting housing. Okay, and it has a little reflector here on the back as well. So that's the mounting bracket. All right, so let's get into the lock itself. So this is made out of aluminum alloy. Paid about $30 for this. And the whole idea behind this, besides, of course, being a lock, is that, number one, it's supposed to be very durable and also supposed to be space-saving. So you can see here it's kind of collapsed onto itself. Now, what's interesting here is you have this locking mechanism with basically 2 positions. You have the off and the on. And what's important to remember here is that anytime the key is out, it's usually going to be in the off position. And then the on position is just used to either remove this orange tooth or to put the orange tooth back in. But once that tooth has been removed or put back in, you'll go ahead and put it back to the off position, so that way you can remove the key. So let's go ahead and demonstrate here. We'll go ahead and put this in the off position first. And then what we'll do is we'll turn that to the on position. So let me do that one more time. Okay, so it's in the off position. Insert the key, and then we'll turn to the right. You can hear it unlock, and then now we have access to that tooth there. Okay, and then what happens here is you can no longer remove the key so long as this tooth is out. So this key will always be in place. All right, so let's roll this out here and take a look at these individual links, and then I'll give you guys a measurement of both folded and unfolded in a second. Okay, so you can see here that it looks like a rivet construction. So there's no machine head screw, or there's no screw head of any type that I can think of to kind of remove that out, besides, using a punch, but, not what a typical thief would be carrying on them. So pretty secure. The links, you can hear, or you cannot hear that there's, very little sound between the links, so it looks like it's well lubricated. It does have a very nice soft matte finish here, so it almost feels like rubber. So that is, really a nice thing. It adds a little bit of class and also makes this thing probably more comfortable to carry both by hand and in your bag. Okay, and then let's do an overall length measurement for you. Grab a measuring tape. Okay, so what you're looking at here, fully extended, is about 32 inches long. So effectively, probably about 16 inches, because of course this has to double back on itself to complete the lock. It's about 16 inches that it can extend from either your bike or, in my case, my Onewheel, and then lock back on itself. All right, let's go ahead and jump to me putting this on my board. Okay, so you can see my Onewheel there in the background. So what would happen is you'll just go ahead and choose something sturdy to secure your board to. And then I like to put this on my handle side. And then it just wraps around like that. And then what we'll do is, to kind of secure this, we're going to push this down here. Again, remember, to accept the tooth, you have to be in the on position. So we'll turn this to the on position. And then now that it's in, we'll go ahead and put it to the off position. And then now the key can be removed and this thing is completely locked in. Okay. And then to unlock it, you'll just do the reverse, turn it to the on, remove, and then remove the lock. Okay, kind of like that. Now to fold this thing up, it's a little bit tricky, but what you're going to do is you're going to start here at the key end. You're going to fold that onto itself, and then now you're going to fold all these other links right around this lock housing, so kind of like that. Okay, then when you get to the final end, you're going to bring the tooth in. Again, we have to put this to the on position. So we're in the on, turn it to the off, remove the key, and then now this is good to go back in your bag. Okay, pros and cons. Starting off with the pros first, the construction feels really good, nice and sturdy, has a good amount of weight to it. I don't have a scale on me, but I would say, probably about half a pound. So, for me, weight speaks to quality. For others, they might not like that fact because it's heavier to carry. I do like the construction. So having these rivets is great because it's, you would have to have a very specialized tool to remove rivets, unlike if it was using like a hex pattern or a, even worse, like a flathead, something that would be pretty easy for somebody to remove. I really like this PVD coating. So I put this in my bag. The lining of the inside of my bag is not the most durable. So even though you could, slip this into a separate bag and then put this into your main bag, it's nice that this is pretty smooth and probably won't chop up the inside of your bag so much. It's also nice because as you're wrapping this around the rail of your Onewheel, you can see that this is obviously going to come in contact with that metal. So having this PVD, rubbery type finish makes it less likely to scratch your board as well. Obviously, the space-saving design is really great. So closed, you're looking at about, just shy of 5 inches long. Width, including that tooth and the housing, you're looking at about 1 3/4 inches wide. And then for height, you're kind of looking at about, again, 1 3/4 inches wide for height. Okay, so pretty good space-saving lock. Not as small as this other guy that I was using, but for me, it just looks like a more secure lock to be carrying. Even if the mechanism, I think, was working in this smoothly, my worry with this is, number one, this looks really thin. Okay, now, I don't really know about braided cables. I could be wrong, and this could be extremely hard to cut, but this connection is ultimately attached at a plastic housing, or this feels like plastic. And so if someone really was strong enough, I could just see somebody pulling really hard on this, cracking the plastic, and then getting access to the board. So for me, that seems a lot more likely than the cable being cut. And for me, I just feel a little bit better carrying around something that's a little bit more sturdy. Any disadvantages? None that I can really think of for now. I don't know if this would be a disadvantage, but having to carry a set of keys. So with a padlock, unless you have really terrible memory, you never have to worry about losing that key. Once you have this, you have to worry about losing it. You know, the worst thing would be if you lock this out somewhere in public and you lose the key out there while it's locked. Well, at least it's secure in that location, but boy, it would be tough to try to get a replacement for one of these keys, if at all possible, much less cutting into this lock. So kind of a trade-off. You just have one more thing to be to worry about in terms of locking up your Onewheel. Any final thoughts? For now, again, I've been using this for 3 days. Love the lock so far. My own 2 cents when it comes to locking your Onewheel, sometimes you just have to do it. You know, for me, when I'm out in Panera Bread, Starbucks doing some work, you know, you have to use the bathroom. It's a pain to drag the Onewheel with you, especially if it's just for a minute or two. So this is great, but if you're planning on leaving your Onewheel like for an extended period of time outside or inside in public, I think no matter how good your lock is, just try not to get into the habit of doing that. I think if there's somebody talented and motivated enough to want to get your Onewheel, no matter what you're using, they probably can do it. So try to minimize time away when your Onewheel is locked, but at least for those few moments that you're gone, you have a little bit of extra security or deterrent from somebody that's even thinking about it. I'm going to put the link down below for where you can buy this. Cost, if I had not mentioned it already, was about $31 shipped through Amazon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, this is the Wotow bike lock. And if you guys have any other suggestions that you use for bike locks, please put them down in the comments below. As always, have fun, be safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.